Hello, Vikings fans. What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Vikings Spin. I'm your host, Jason, and today we're going to be talking about offensive tackles. That's our next position group here that we're going to be discussing pre-draft. The last time we did a position group, it was interior offensive linemen, and we went through 8 of them. So we're going to go through 8 offensive tackles here today. They're going to be draft prospects for the Vikings. These guys are going to range in draft projection anywhere from round 1 to round 5. Now, preferably, I'd rather take a tackle anywhere from rounds 1 to 3, maybe round 4, but we're going to do 1 through 5 on these projections. So we're going to have a range of possibilities here. Also, I'd like to make the announcement that Purple PTSD and Vikings Territory are partnering with me. So you can find some of my articles on Purple PTSD and Vikings Territory. Very thankful for the opportunity from those guys to share my content with their followers as well. So looking forward here to the prospects. The first one that we're going to take a look at is a first-round prospect, and that's Greg Little. He's thought of as a pure tackle. He's 6'5", 325 out of Ole Miss. The thing about Greg Little that I like is he comes from the SEC, so that's top competition, and he's been first team all SEC, so that means you're the real deal if you can hold up out there. And he's definitely going to be a surefire first round pick. So the thing about drafting Greg Little in the first round, of course, a lot of this is contingent upon what you do in free agency. Say you sign an interior offensive lineman in free agency. Maybe you sign 2. Maybe you sign 1 and then you draft another one second round or third round that's going to start. So now you get 2 interior starters. And you draft Greg Little in the first round to be an offensive tackle. Does that mean you move on from Riley Reef? You trade him? It's probably more financially feasible to trade him next year in 2020 than it is in 2019, but anything's possible. And certainly if you draft a tackle in the first round, it's unlikely that you're going to bench him, especially if you draft him that high. So if you really put him on the bench for a year, definitely something to think about. Another prospect that we're going to look at here is Jonah Williams out of Alabama, another first-round projection. The thing with Jonah Williams, he and Cody Ford, who we're also going to talk about. We talked about them in the last segment because they're also being looked at as interior offensive linemen. But with Jonah Williams, Daniel Jeremiah said that he thinks he's got all-pro potential at guard, even though he's being looked at as a tackle by some teams and a guard by other teams. 6'5", 301 pounds. I've seen a lot of his film. Very technically sound. Moves exceptionally well. All these prospects here, by the way, we're talking about can be a fit in the zone blocking scheme that the Vikings are going to be running a lot. So just want to get that out there. So yes, Jonah is scheme friendly. And what I like about him is even though he's not that big, he's only 301, he uses outstanding technique against power. So he doesn't get ragdolled or bull rushed like Mike Rivers. Okay. Next one that we're going to talk about is Cody Ford, 6'4", 330 pounds, out of Oklahoma. Position flexibility there. He played some guard and tackle at Oklahoma. I think his best fit's at guard, but he certainly has the athleticism to be a tackle. In his scouting report, this is about his athleticism. It says he's not just athletic for his size, he's just plain athletic. So there's no doubt he has the ability to go out to tackle, but it raises the question. If you draft him to be a guard and you play him at guard and he plays really well at guard in 2019, you really want to move him to tackle? Because, I know I keep going back to Mike Remmers, but it just was so horrible. I mean, it worked out so badly. The guy, moving guys around is really the best thing. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say Remmers had never played guard in college or the NFL, so that was a horrible idea from the start. At least Ford's had experience at both positions, so maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if you were to move to a new position in year two. But something to think about. The next prospect we're looking at is Yadni Kahuste, 6'5", 315 pounds, out of West Virginia. Projection anywhere from the first to second round for the most part. I don't think he'll last till the third. I watched a lot of his film. I was very impressed with the techniques that he uses. Scouts admire his athleticism against speed rushers. That's a big deal in the NFL. Really couldn't be mad at that pick if that was the pick. Says that he could start from day one if a team needs him. It would be best if they let him sit for a year to get more polish. Well, that's certainly a possibility. Like I said, moving on from Reef is probably better cap-wise to do in 2020 than 2019. The next prospect I'm not really that high on. It's Andre Dillard out of Washington State. And when I was just reading reports on him, it sounded good. And then I saw him in the Senior Bowl, and he was just getting bull rushed and driven back into the quarterback. It didn't look good. He's still got a first to second round grade on him. I think a first round pick would be a serious reach. I just don't like the prospect personally. From what I saw, that was really a lot of red flags there with him. He's got definitely would need to work on his technique quite a bit, and I don't think drafting a project tackle in the first or second round would be a smooth move. So I'm going to pass on Andre Dillard. I was actually more impressed with Titus Howard, who also played in the Senior Bowl, 6'5", 311 out of Alabama State. The knock on him was he played at Alabama State, so he never faced great competition, the small school knock. Well, he went to the Senior Bowl and held up his end of the bargain. I didn't see any speed rushers get by him. I didn't see him get bull rushed at all. And the Senior Bowl is good competition. So I think Titus Howard proved himself. He's probably still going to be around the third round pick just because of the small school prejudice. I think that would be a fantastic pick in the third round. Allow the Vikings to address other needs in the first and second round, and still have a guy that you can possibly move on from Reef next year. Probably take a year of development and refinement with him, but I think it's well worth it. I really like his upside. Another prospect that we're looking at here is Jawan Taylor, 6'5", 334 pounds, out of Florida. He's athletic for his size, I would say. I'm viewing him really as a guard. Some teams might view him as a tackle. But he definitely gets the job done. Second to third round projection in most spots. Some spots projecting him first round, we'll see. But that's an option as well. Tyree St. Louis out of Miami. The Vikings met with him. 6'5", 312 pounds. I've seen him mocked anywhere from the third to fifth round. I'm like I said, if we're looking at mid-grade projections, I'm more personally impressed with Titus Howard, but Tyree St. Louis, let's get a little bit more in depth with him here. Just reading some of the analysis here from the Draft Network. I really like that site. They do some really in-depth descriptions here in their scouting reports. He does have good foot speed, lands his punches pretty well, so that's a good sign. The primary areas of concern with him are his pass set angles, playing with better bend. It says here, using his length to keep opponents at the end of his reach. He's got to do a better job of that. His tendency to bend at the waist and not his knees creates leverage and pacing issues when he is hip to hip with opponents. So he's not a finished product by any means. He'd probably need a year, maybe 2 years on the bench before he would be ready to start. But I think he'd still probably be could possibly be an upgrade from Rashad Hill as a swing tackle. Um, so that's one thing to look at there with St. Louis. But that wraps it up there for our offensive tackles. Like I said, I keep coming back to it, but a lot of this is contingent on what they do in the draft and free agency. Where are they going to target specific positions, and what round are they going to take them? A lot of those things come into consideration. It really depends on what the Vikings draft board looks like, who they have rated where. So, but that's the rundown on those 8 prospects. Thank you guys so much for joining me again on another edition of Viking Spin. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, give us a like on Facebook, and check out our YouTube channel. And of course, now be on the lookout for our articles on Purple PTSD in Vikings territory. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Take care.